almost like him more than I did. I used to kind of give him a lot of shit.
Like him at all.
Well, yeah, that's true. I was trying to back off that take. Like, well, it was never that hard on him, was it? I used to rip him. But it's like the way he played the All-Star break, we did like the tiered rankings of like what we think of a team's like ability to win it all. Mm-hmm. And Thunder we had as in title or bust. The Pacers we had in the fourth tier, which was the could get hot tier. And I'd say that they got hot.
They're hot.
They got hot. Yeah. I put in a bunch of crazy things as soon as that series ended. I think I tied them in with a bunch of like sure things. Okay. You know that strategy?
Oh,
that old trick, yeah.
Sharp.
Sharp. Very sharp.
Boys, screws loose, they done stripped the bolts on them. Should've never sent them to pick up the work for me. Sprayed the park and had my shit inside the car. Marcus Smart boy was shooting with a 36 on him. Said if he wasn't in the rush, they was all goners. Tech cursive on his chest, he was
right. Greetings, Chudlings. Welcome to another episode of Chuddy's Corner. NBA Finals Preview Edition. We have the NBA Finals matchup set. Indiana Pacers, Oklahoma City Thunder. It's June 2nd. I'm Doug, your host, Dugouts. With me, as always, King Chuddy. Chuddy, how are you doing tonight?
I mean, I'm not loving this little break from NBA basketball, but at least we got
Just
that
in
extra
sports
game.
in general.
A little bit.
Everything's winding down.
Women's College World Series, some great action going on. Both College World Series. You know, we got the French Open. It could be worse. It's about to get worse. So I was gonna say I'm trying to not be upset about the layoff, but then I'm thinking there's only max of 7 more NBA games.
Not a lot of meat left on the bone.
Yeah, like pretty soon this is gonna be it every night. So I guess appreciate the build.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I just feel like the playoffs where it's NHL, NBA, like boom, 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 boom,
you got
boom,
every
boom. It's such a great
2 weeks,
and then now it's like all of a sudden it's just like
ends.
the wind is pulled out right from you. Anyway, glad to hear you're doing well, even despite the lack of live NBA action, despite the lack of West Coast NBA games keeping you up till 2 a.m. Glad the French Open is on. That's going to help you out in that regard, at least. So you have that going on.
Aussie would be better.
When's the Aussie?
January, so not great.
Oh, all right, yeah, you're fucked. Yeah. All right, we're going to talk NBA Finals. We're going to talk a little bit of Celtics, some Celtics rumors too. We got a couple bond temps with an Al Horford rumor we're going to get into a little bit. Another potential big star maybe swap. We'll get into all that stuff. But first, we're talking NBA Finals. So Pacers, Thunder. Initially, just on paper, it might feel like the Thunder are going to kind of run away with this one. And I think that Vegas thinks that too. They're pretty huge favorites in this one. But I don't know. I feel like this Pacers team's got a little bit of Team of Destiny vibes to them. Obviously, their coach, Carlisle, is just like, he's done it before. Got to always have that in the back of your head too. I like what this series could be. I wouldn't be shocked if it ends up being kind of a beatdown, but I feel like it's not going to be. Am I crazy to think that this might be closer than people are thinking?
I definitely don't think you're crazy to think it. And I mean, I don't know how anyone really could watch what we've seen from the Pacers team for the last month plus and just assume that anyone's going to blow them out. Like, if you're saying that with a lot of confidence, you're kind of crazy. But obviously on paper, I mean, the Thunder, they're a juggernaut team. They went 68-14 this regular season. They have the MVP of the league. They've lost, 4 playoff games, and they've won multiple games by 30, 50 points, or whatever. Like, I think it's justified that they're this big of a favorite. Historical net rating during the season, all that. Historically great defense, this, that, the other. Like, it's the line is warranted, but at the same time, I definitely don't think that means it's going to absolutely be some walkover. Like, I think it's a fair betting line, but I think the series has a lot of intrigue. I think it's a very fun basketball matchup. And I definitely think a few weeks from now, we might be looking at each other and we might be just being like, yeah, it turns out OKC just like was that good all along. And it's honestly in a lot of ways to me similar to the Celtics last year, where I feel like it took the whole season for people to take them seriously. And then once the Celtics dominated the Mavs, everyone was like, yeah, it turns out the Celtics were just by far the best team all along. Like, there's a very good chance we're saying that a week from now about the Thunder, but until it's over, there's still that little bit of doubt. And like you said, the Pacers, some of it's team of destiny, some of it great coaching, some of it is stylistic stuff, but to not be taking them serious at this point would be crazy. So I think I could definitely make a case for both sides. I still think the Thunder should and deserve to be heavy favorites, but I absolutely don't think this is just some complete walkover.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I think you just made a good point, the comparison with us, where it's like some days you're not realizing how dominant a team is until it's all over, and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ. Well, they just absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be falling in that trap that I think some people fell into last year, some people fell into last year, where it's like, we're going to pick the Mavs just because, like, there's something, we just don't believe it because the Thunder have been dominant. So, but again, it's just what the Pacers have done in these playoffs. It just makes them very scary. Like you said, you can't really rule them out. I don't know if you want to go, like, I'm just kind of thinking about where I see some advantages possibly for the Pacers. I think that kind of that second best player thing, Pascal Siakam, I think is kind of a better second player than who would you say is theirs? J-Dub?
Yeah.
It's like their second. Like, I would say that's kind of a matchup that they might be able to get a little bit. I'm interested, too, in the Turner-Chet matchup.
If that'll be the matchup. I think that's another question. I think
yeah. Well, I guess they're kind of both like the stretch guy, but all right, go with what you were saying because you probably have more insight.
Well, I just think in that it'll be interesting to see, like, obviously the Thunder, at least for starting these games, have been starting the two bigs, Hartenstein and Chet at the same time, and they've kind of been, letting Chet roam around a little bit, basically picking, like, last series, it was a lot of Jaden McDaniel, like his, kind of doing what Porzingis did and Rob Williams before him, where you use your center as more of a roamer and you basically leave their worst shooter alone and he roams around and plays goalie. Like, that's kind of what Chet's been doing. But on the Pacers, like, who's that guy? Yeah, and it's a rhetorical question. Is what I'm saying. Like, that's not something they're going to be able to do. Like, everyone's going to have to match up. It's Halliburton. You're obviously not leaving. Nembhard, you're obviously not leaving. Nesmith, he might be the best option, but he's a fucking sniper. Like, leave him at your own risk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then it's Siakam and Miles Turner. So it's like there's no one you can really just cheat off of like that. So Chet's going to have to guard, or they're going to have to play one of those guys, which, again, as if that's a bad thing, that just means more Caruso or Cason Wallace or whatever. Like, it's not. That's the thing, is the Thunder have so many guys to counter it. But it will be interesting to see if they're able to stick with kind of the base defense they've been playing all playoffs against the Pacers. So that'll be fun to watch. In terms of the second star thing, it's a tough one. I think any of those guys kind of can be the best. I think Oklahoma City is definitely going to need. I think they've got the benefit of really having two of those guys where it's J-Dub and Chet. I think either one can kind of be that second star on any given night, where the Pacers probably are more reliant on Halliburton and Siakam, where it's like the Thunder have kind of a big three. One can have a bad game and they'll still be fine, whereas the Pacers kind of are going to need both of their quote-unquote stars to bring it every night. So
you're saying Siakam and Halliburton, like
well, yeah, right. If one of Siakam or Halliburton has a bad game, I think it's going to be hard for the Pacers to win a game. Whereas if the Thunder, one out of Chet, J-Dub, and Shea can have a bad game, and they can definitely still win.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know if you want to say necessarily Chet or J-Dub or Shea or Pascal, like, who's the best player. I think you could make an interesting case for probably almost all of them, and they're all pretty even overall, although different players. But I think that just the OKC kind of having that third star kind of makes the difference in that discussion. But, the Pacers have been getting it done with depth. They're very similar in that sense, and I think it says a lot about the NBA in general that you look at these teams, and it's kind of been a theme of these playoffs where you're looking at the 18th and the 25th highest payroll in the league. I think it's the first finals ever where neither team's been in the luxury tax.
Yeah.
And neither one's even very close. They're both young and deep, and it's just for so long. You and I have grown up in this league of, like, collecting stars. Okay, we got a second star. We need to get a third star. How do we get a big three? Yeah. How do we build a super team? And now the teams that have gone that way have gone to shit. Look at, Phoenix or the Brooklyn before them. And it's like the teams now that are thriving are these teams that have smartly built and been patient and just have so much depth. And the Thunder and the Pacers, they both on any given night can play 10 guys. And if one guy doesn't have it, great, we have another guy. Where you see some of these teams, and it happened to the Celtics, it happened to the Nuggets. Like, if one of our guys or two are off, we're fucked.
Yeah, that absolutely was something that we ended up seeing with ourselves down the road, down the stretch this season. That's also why one of the things that brings you back to the Pacers too is because the Thunder, their depth has been kind of the thing, but the Pacers, they have a ton of guys that can score. What I'm curious about, and to me, what the Pacers have done is like that pace has just made them able to kind of dominate a lot of teams that I would say on paper are better than them. Yep. I'm not even saying the Knicks are better than them, but I just think in that matchup,
they were favored.
By the end of that, They were favored, yeah. By the end of that, by the end of that matchup, like the Knicks just couldn't slow them down. Like the Knicks would score on a good offensive possession, but then before they could even do anything, they were getting beat on the other end. Obviously, the Thunder are a way better defensive team, but like, are the Pacers still going to be able to play that kind of pace against the Thunder? Do you think that they're going to be able to find? Is that kind of just like, well, that's the question, dumbass? Like,
well, no. I mean, yes, that's the question, but I wouldn't say dumbass because it's such an amazing, intriguing question, and it really is so perfect. And I mean, this is like you're seeing me start to grin because this is why we love basketball. This is what it's all about to get the matchup like this, where we have Oklahoma City, this tenaciously, historically great defense with a zillion little guards. And they win their games by forcing turnovers. It's like a college team. They press you, they turn the ball over, they run out, they get these steals, and it's like an avalanche where there's just nothing you can do. Then you've got the Pacers on the other hand. What do? Like you said, fly the ball up the court and never turn it over. They get a good shot every single time, and they're absolutely relentless. And you hit on it right there. But to me, maybe the most impressive thing watching this team, and you saw it all the time in the Knicks, is like I said, the Knicks would be scoring. They'd score in the half court. The ball would go through the net, and the Pacers are pushing it up, and Siakam's laying it in ahead of the defense. And it's like...
It's insane.
It's insane, and it's consistent. It's not like once in a while they catch him napping. It's like, that's what they do every play. It does not stop. And I mean, part of that's coaching. Part of it's obviously Halliburton. It kind of sets the tone, and then the way that they're able to cycle through these guys. You don't have a guy playing 45 minutes. That's the thing, whereas even when it seemed like the Knicks were able to go for blow, but like they'd work so hard for a basket, Towns and Brunson are exhausted, and Siakam and Halliburton are just like skipping back up the court for another layup before they've even gone past half court. It's insane. And I can't even really like rip the Knicks because you just don't see teams do this. And that's the other thing. Like the oldest cliche in the books, you hear it all year long when people talk about like, why don't the Celtics just play fast all the time? And I was like, oh, well, the game slows down in the playoffs. And it does, but it just, the way it has not for this team has been absolutely incredible. And that's why I just can't wait to watch which style is going to win out. Because I mean, if the Thunder slow the Pacers down, I mean, that's a wrap. Like the Pacers have to basically be able to keep playing this style to succeed. And again, like I said, if you just kind of break it down on paper and stuff like that and analyze all that, you probably lead yourself to believe they're overmatched and aren't going to be able to do it. But honestly, you would have said the same thing about the Cavs. Not the Cavs were as good of a defense, but it's like you keep looking at all these matchups and the Pacers just keep destroying them. And at what point is it like, until I see someone actually able to stop them for 4 out of 7 games, why should I assume that it's going to happen? So again, OKC is as well equipped as any team in the league to do it, but I still got to see them do it.
Yeah, and you bring a good point too with the Cavs. Like that was another like 60-win team that was obviously considered way better. Not obviously a little bit different, but again, a great defensive team, and they couldn't slow them down. They couldn't stop them. Mm-hmm. It's going to be good. I'd also talking about Halliburton, just watching more of him play like in the playoffs. I know that you watch like all year, every game, whatever, but like seeing more Halliburton, it's such a. I almost like him more than I did. I used to kind of give him a lot of shit,
like him at all.
Well, yeah, that's true. I was trying to back off that take. Like, well, it was never that hard on him, was I? I used to rip him, but it's like the way he plays is so. It's like so crazy and like chaotic, and it almost always feels like he's about to like lose the ball or screw up, and it's like insane how little he does lose the ball and screw up. Like he can just be driving through this. You're like, what is he doing? And then all of a sudden he just pops back up with the 3-point line and dish it and does make something happen. And to me, I feel like that's something with the team. In my head, I'm thinking if you're like this defensive, like fundamental defensive team,
right?
A little chaos agent like that, I think, kind of throws a little because it's like you can be doing all the right things, and he's just kind of like navigating through all this shit and just flipping it over to a guy. So I think Halliburton could be a little bit of like a challenge for that defense, just because of how chaotic and unpredictable he is. And if you're a team that's good at setting up in the half court and playing defense, it's kind of like this chaos agent suddenly introduced to it. So
well, and the other thing too, I think that we saw a lot with the Thunder, like last round. If it wasn't in Edwards' hands, the Thunder were basically like, oh, we're just taking the ball from you. It's like most teams don't have other options. Like when they blitz your main guy, it can get ugly. But with the Pacers, that's been the other great thing about it, is the reason you can't really neutralize it is because Nembhard is really almost like a point guard playing shooting guard. So it's like, you want to go blitz Halliburton? Great. He'll swing it over to Nembhard, who can also run a great offense, and now is probably working with like a 4-on-3 because you blitzed Halliburton. Now you're putting Nembhard in an advantageous opportunity. And again, it's like he's not as good as Halliburton, But if you give him like a mismatch on the court, he can run off. He's more than capable of being a second guy. So it's like when that's your second option on offense, they again basically have two guys on the court at all times who you're very confident with running the offense.
Yelling into the mic.
Getting excited. Rafael just hit a home run, so I'm a little pumped up.
Wow, okay.
We're watching sports. But yeah, so I mean, all that stuff to me is just going to be super fascinating. And like I said, we really haven't seen a team that has had answers for the Pacers offense and during this playoff run. I mean, the Knicks have done it for like a game. We've seen teams do it for a game, but overall, it's relentless. It comes in waves. I mean, the Thunder, like we said, we're able to force teams into turnovers and wear them down. I just don't know that that's going to be the case. I think two awesome coaches. Carlisle's great. Dagnall's great. The adjustments back and forth,
that's the thing too.
Really, really fun to watch. I think
the Thunder coach, I also feel like could be, if there was a guy that could stop this kind of pace, I think he's going to have some crazy shit cooked up to try to do that.
He's got the guys. He's got the personnel. That's going to be fun.
I also think, to your point too, I do think there will be one game where the Thunder are just going to absolutely dominate the Pacers. There'll be one game where we're going to be like, whoa.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's still going to be a pretty close series, and I know we'll get into our picks at the end of the preview. But
be shocked if there's a game like that in Indiana, though. I could see the Thunder being up 2-0 and everyone being like, "Wow, this is going to be the biggest sweep ever," and then the Pacers win Game 3 in Indiana by 30.
Yeah. No. I
mean, the Timberwolves basically just did that. They won by what?
Exactly. That's kind of the same.
So I wouldn't overreact too much to any one game. Yeah, because there could be some blowouts, and I think where both teams play this kind of crazy pace that allows for big blowouts. And I don't think the Pacers are going to be pulling off a 20-point comeback in the last 5 minutes or anything. But hey, you never know. Who's to say they're not? Honestly,
you literally don't know with this team. It's
right, exactly. You can't rule it out. So that is the premier matchup. I think you could say right now in all the NBA, and that's the thing. We keep alluding to this kind of a silly finals matchup, but I think if you actually go through it, sure, the Pacers are a surprise and maybe a bit of an underdog, but looking back right now, I don't think it's a fluke or unwarranted. I would say that genuinely right now they are the best team in the East. I think Celtics could say they're better, but I mean, they lost and now Tatum's hurt. The Cavs were kind of banged up, but I think the Pacers pretty easily proved they're a much better team than them, and then they eventually did the same to the Knicks. So it's yeah, you can kind of squint and laugh at it, but I think the Pacers are very deserving Eastern Conference winners, and I think you could say right now they're the best team in the East. They deserve to be there. So I don't think this is some giant Cinderella team. Again, the Thunder certainly deserve to be favored, but I think the Pacers more than think they belong, believe they can win, and I think they have every right to.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to look right now because I remember we did do tiers of what we think each team could do. Do you remember when we did this? I'm trying to think of what we had the Pacers. I think it might have been midway through the year or something like that. But I think that we had the Pacers as could possibly do it. So I'll look that up while we keep kind of going a little bit on this. But
I respect it. I love it.
I don't think it's fluky. To your point, I do think that it's kind of this Cinderella-ish. It feels Cinderella-ish in a way with the run, but because the Cavs and the Celtics it'd be thought that these are going to be the fact that the Eastern Conference Finals was a 3 and the 4 seed. It's crazy. Some crazy shit happened, but I think that they've kind of earned it, and they've outplayed everyone that they've come up against. So
I think they absolutely have.
Hard to count them out.
They knocked out Giannis. They knocked out the best player in the East. Then they knocked out the best team in the East, and then they knocked out the team that was left. So hey, you got to give it to them. And like I said, we'll see if the Thunder are just a different beast. We might just see that the Thunder were just that much better than every other team, and maybe the West was that much better than the East, and there was never anything going to happen along. But I think it'd be crazy to say that. Now, again, I think this is the Pacers offense we just saw dominate against a team that started Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, who are brutal defenders.
I found the picture.
Oh,
yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead. No, finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, just saying, I mean, I think as much as we're kind of saying, how can anyone stop the Pacers? Again, if anyone's going to do it, we're talking about an OKC team that does not have any weak links. Like I just mentioned, the Pacers don't have a weak guy on offense for the Thunder to cheat off. Well, the Thunder don't have a weak guy on defense, too. And like I said, they can play double big. They can play 4 guards. They can do almost anything they want. And they can throw, I would say legitimately 5 to 7 guys who at their best, you could make a case for them to make an all defense team. So they have all the guys to throw at Halliburton. And I'll just be fascinated. I think it's obviously going to be a lot of Caruso, a lot of Dort. trying to move these guys around, and it's going to be a chess match. Like I'm giddy for those first 5 minutes just to watch like how both teams match up. What are kind of their like opening cards they're going to throw, and then obviously see the adjustments from there. But there's just so many options like that both teams have. I think the other way around, it'll be basically who's going to guard Shea. Is it going to be Nembhard? Is it going to be Nesmith? Nembhard struggled mightily against Brunson all the last 2 seasons until Game 6 when Nesmith, you could tell the ankle was bothering him. They switched Nembhard on. Maybe the best game in Nembhard's career.
Yeah,
he struggled shooting.
Yeah, I remember we said before. We said before, like his defense could be an issue, and he absolutely clamped.
It was until that game, though.
Like, yeah. Well, I'm not saying it was wrong to say. I'm saying he stepped up. Like, it was
for
crazy.
sure. Right. So I wonder, is Shea going to be a little too big for him, where they might need the strength of Nesmith? Where again, nice of him to get this time off. Hopefully that ankle's healed up, because we saw he's obviously just so big and physical. So that could be the matchup. But Nembhard's a great defender. Obviously, those are a couple Team Canada boys, him and Shea. But I don't know if that's good, because they kept matching him up with Nikhil last round, his cousin, and it seemed like he just didn't have quite the edge. He was just kind of giving him buckets all day. But some fascinating options. Halliburton, obviously the guy they kind of have to quote-unquote hide. But as we mentioned last round, give Halliburton a ton of credit for how hard he's playing and competing on defense, to the point where he really has not been a liability, which, again, for how good he is on offense, if he can just be like an okay defender, that's good enough.
Yeah.
He's been that. I expect to see more of that out of him. And again, all those guys they have out there are ragged. I'm sure, again, they'll throw TJ McConnell. We mentioned it last round. In our preview, we said he'll go in there to muck things up against Brunson for a few minutes and a half. I'm sure he'll do the same exact thing with Shea. You know, he's going to be fighting and scrapping and getting the crowd going. That'll be fun. Man, I'm just excited. For the most part. Everyone's healthy. Everyone should be well rested. Like, this should just be good basketball. And I'm really excited to see how it plays out. I think it'll be, if nothing else, like a really, really fun series. And I think it could even it could be Thunder in 5, but we come away with it being like, those are four or five really, really good basketball games.
Yeah, we saw that with us last year in the Pacers. So before we give our predictions of the series, I found the
all right.
it was right after the All-Star break. We did like the tiered rankings of like what we think of a team's like ability to win it all. And Thunder we had as in title or bust with the Celtics and the Cavs. The Pacers we had in the 4th tier, which was the could get hot tier. And I'd say that they got hot.
They're hot.
They got hot.
What were the name of the 2nd and 3rd tiers? I'm sure we had.
Could win it all. That was Knicks and
Yeah.
Nuggets.
Okay.
And then could make the finals was Grizzlies, Lakers, Warriors. So tough call on the could make the finals one. But
not great.
Yeah.
Not great.
But yeah. But I mean, otherwise not so bad. The other could get hot were the Bucks. Timberwolves got hot. Timberwolves got hot.
They made the conference
We
final.
called the hot teams. We called some teams that got hot.
Overall, I'd say not terrible, but probably
Clippers, Mavericks. Yeah,
a little too low on the Pacers, which I hate to say, but
okay. You were right on it with would need a miracle for Kings, Suns, Pistons, Magic.
Yeah, and then none of them quite got it. So,
you unfortunately though tanking for Cooper Flag. Yeah, no, you didn't get. You didn't get that one. No, you didn't have the Mavericks and taking.
We could have. I mean, that would have been pretty impressive, to be honest, if I did.
Yeah.
But, all right. Well,
I love some of these tiers. What are you even doing right now, and why?
Let me guess who was in that. The Bulls.
Yeah, they're one. Do you want me to tell you how many teams it was? It was 6 teams.
6 teams.
So you just got
what
one.
What are you even doing?
The Bulls.
Hawks.
That's 2.
Okay. How many East more?
There's 2 more East teams. No,
2 more East.
3 more East.
3 more.
It's 5 East teams and a West team.
So it's got to be the Heat.
Yep.
That's Raptors. 3. Definitely the Raptors.
No. Raptors were tanking for Flag.
Shit. Well, they changed. They should have been.
I'll give you another minute because it's brutal.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Nets and Sixers were the other 2. And then
all right, so this is a little early. So this was way earlier than half.
All-Star break. All-Star break.
Oh, no, not even. All right, interesting.
That's what the tweet was anyway. But anyway,
fair enough.
Let's do our predictions.
One last thing. What do you think of the Siakam getting the MVP?
I was pretty surprised. I went back and I looked at some of the numbers throughout the series, and I guess like Halliburton did kind of have one game where he didn't do like anything, but I think that no one really did in that game.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like Siakam had a huge game then anyway. It was one of the games they lost.
Yeah.
So I was pretty surprised by it. I mean, the video of Halliburton like basically walking towards him was like tough video, but yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, I think I immediately texted you. It was like Siakam. I mean, Again, it's not like I don't think that he played well or anything, but it certainly felt like the story of that series was Halliburton.
So yeah, that's what I was going to say, where you said like the stats or whatever, they're pretty close. I know Siakam had 3 30-point games, is better at defense, whatever. But to me, I think it was dumb last year. I think it's dumb again this year, where it's just like, it should go to the guy who's just clearly the best player. And like Halliburton clearly was like the face and the identity of that team. He played well. He had the signature shot of the entire series. Like, to say anyone else is the most valuable player on the Pacers is ridiculous. And like, they played great for 6 games. He's their MVP. Stop trying to get cute. And it's like they did the same thing last year with Brown and Tatum, where obviously we love Jalen, love Tatum too, but it's the same thing. It's like any Celtics fan who watched the team all season knows Tatum's the most valuable player. And like, he didn't play poorly in those games. He was averaging upwards of like 30, bunch of rebounds, all this shit. So it's just like, to me, that's just dumb.
I mean, he had the same numbers that SGA just had. Better numbers than SGA just had.
Sure, and I think it was more that Jalen played awesome and had the clutch shots and whatever, but it's like, those are great moments, but Tatum's just clearly the guy in every night, on every possession. He's the MVP of the team.
I feel like the Jalen Tatum one wasn't as... I think that this one was a little bit crazier.
Maybe, but I feel like they're kind of in the similar vein, where it's like, you can make a case for either guy, but at the end of the day, we all know who is the guy.
Yeah, media just trying to drive a wedge between some of these players.
Yeah, I guess, or we'll see. Maybe it'll motivate Halliburton. I don't know, either way, but... It's cool. Good for Pascal. I mean, love Pascal. Nothing against him. I just think it's just a weird pattern of like, just give it to the guy who clearly is the MVP of that team. Unless he like completely plays shitty or someone else. Unless it's such a wide gap that you're just like, wow, well, like Siakam scored 40 points every game. Like, we got to give it to him. But it's like, it's pretty close. We all know Halliburton's the best player. What are we doing?
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm with you.
Like, looking back in 30 years, if we're going to look, maybe the Pacers won't win it all. You're probably going to be like, oh, the Pacers made a run to the final. That's sick. And then the first thing you're going to look, Eastern Finals MVP, Pascal Siakam. And that's how, like, you're going to remember it? Like, that's so dumb.
Yeah. Hey, I'm with you. I was stunned. I couldn't believe it. All right. Before we give our predictions, should we pay our bills real quick?
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll get into our predictions for the series. Before we do that, let me try this again. Before we do that, Chuddy's Corner is brought to you by Mario's Roofing. Roofing Mario's, siding Mario's, windows Mario's. You just got to call Mario's. At Mario's, we pride ourselves on quality, safety, and value. We wouldn't do anything to your home that we wouldn't also do to our own. Give Mario's a call today. Ask them about their summer specials. Tell them Chuddy's Corner sent you. You can get $50 off your installation. Give them a call, 781-344-2420, or you can always visit them online at mariosroofing.com. Mario's Roofing. We won't soak you in order to keep you warm and dry. Tough start to the ad read. We got to figure it out. The off season, baby.
That's right. No off season. All right, Chuddy's Corner also is brought to you by Nick Perino Real Estate. Visit Nick at nickperino.com, nickpiraino.com. Nick is the original sponsor of the show. He's been around since he was filming with a camcorder back in the basement back in the day, the early Chuddy's Corner days. He's been a guest host. He's done a lot of things behind the scenes for Chuddy's Corner, no doubt about it. He's a true Chuddyhead and a friend first, but he is really an incredible realtor and the guy you want in your corner if you're trying to navigate this very difficult housing market, whether you're buying, selling, whatever. You need someone who can trust, someone who's not going to give you the runaround, someone who actually seems like they give a shit. Well, Nick will care about you and your process as if it is his own. He will give you that personal care that you need, that'll make you feel good, make you feel like you know what you're doing. He will help you accomplish everything that you want. So again, can't recommend Nick enough. Both Dugouts and myself are longtime customers of Nick. And again, he'll become more than a realtor. I think he'll become a friend. So reach out. You can ask him about the Celtics. He's a diehard. He's got a lot of opinions flying around right now. Ask him about realty. Anything you want, he's your guy. And that's why, again, Nick Perino at nickperino.com, the official realtor of Chuddy's Corner. Shout out Nick.
All right. Shout out Nick. Shout out Mario's Roofing. All right. Prediction time for the series. We've broken it down. We've taken a look at the matchups. We talked about what we think might happen. Rubber meets the road. Chuddy, what is your prediction for this matchup?
I am going to go with the Thunder winning in 6 hard-fought games. I think they do eventually prevail, and I actually think they get it done in Indiana. I think the Pacers do get those 2 games. I was leaning Thunder in 5 for a while, but the more I think about it, all the stuff we talked about is just like I'm done disrespecting the Pacers. Not that I really have. I think I picked them actually in every series. Actually, I picked them over the Cavs, so I haven't disrespected them at all.
Such a dick.
I will continue to not disrespect them, which I mean I'm picking them to lose, but I think in 6 is reasonable. I think Shea gets his MVP. I think it goes down as, I mean, how many guys won the MVP, Finals MVP same year? Pretty unreal stuff for a guy who's just 26 and his supporting cast is even younger. I think there's a bit of a coronation for the Thunder. Again, I don't think it'll be some cakewalk. I think the Pacers give them a really good series, but ultimately, I think this Thunder team is almost inevitable. I think we both kind of hit it. When they got past Denver, it was almost like that was the path they needed to clear, and they've looked like world beaters since then. I think the Pacers give them their toughest test, but I don't think it's enough.
All right. I'm going to go a little bit more off the vibes with my pick. I think I'm going to go Pacers in 7.
Love it.
I'm going on the vibes. I want to be able to say, look at that. I picked the Pacers. But I do think it's going to be a very hard series for them. But there's something about it just feels right. Rick Carlisle, he's a dragon slayer. They got Jim Irsay up above looking down. Last tweet ever of his life was that the Pacers were going to win it all. So
too good.
It's just sometimes you don't want to mess with the fate. So, my mind, my eyes, they might be telling me, Thunder, what are you doing? You got to take the Thunder. I like Thunder in 6. That's honestly would have probably been the pick had all these other forces in the universe not converged on this matchup. So that's I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say that I think that the Pacers are going to win one of those first 2 games in Oklahoma City.
I love it. Okay, so they've only lost 1 game this playoffs, and most of them they've won by a lot. But the Pacers are different beasts. Hell yeah, dude. Pacers are different beasts.
So yes, so I'm going to go Pacers in 7. Call me crazy.
I love it. And MVP?
It's got to be Halliburton.
Does
but
it?
Look at sticks for Neesmith.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That'd be fun. Well, on a serious note, though, if the Pacers win, it does feel like there's going to have to be like, that was the Neesmith game. I know we just had it, but it's going to be like different. They're going to have to find ways of like, holy shit, Mathurin just came off the bench and scored 25 points.
Neesmith's going to have like an 8.8 3-pointer game or something like that.
It feels like they're going to need a crazy role player performance.
It's going to be an uphill battle.
That's what happened for Carlisle's Mavs teams when they upset the Heat. That was the same thing. They were facing it, what everyone thought was an inevitable dynasty, and lo and behold, here's the Barea game. Here's the Peja Stojakovic game. Here's the whatever. So.
Oh,
never say
that was so awesome.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Yeah, so there you go. Team of Destiny. I'm riding with it. I'm riding with it. I think I even have I think I might even have them in the future or something like that. I put in a bunch of crazy things as soon as that series ended.
Love it.
I think I tied them in with a bunch of sure things.
Okay.
That strategy?
Oh, the best.
That old trick, yeah.
Sharp.
Sharp, very sharp. All right, let's talk about. There's a few Celtics rumors, not a whole lot that's come out. So if you want to kind of see our thoughts on some of the rebuild and possible rebuilding, what to do next, check out our previous episode. We go kind of more in depth there, but there's a couple different things that came up that we did kind of think were worth mentioning. One, Tim Bontemps, your boy. I feel like he's always saying crazy shit. He's always talking reckless. He's a reckless talker.
Maybe a little.
He also picked Pascal Siakam to win the final. To win the Eastern Conference Finals.
He picked Jalen last year, and he picked Butler. He picked Butler the year the Celtics won it. I'm pretty sure, didn't he?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he still voted for Butler.
Your boy.
He's a contrarian. Let's just say he's not into the group.
Let's hope so with this one. Let's hope so with this one, because the rumor he was saying was that essentially that there might be. That either the Knicks making a push to get Horford, right? Or it's not Horford seeking them out, right? It's that the Knicks are viewing Horford as like a potential target.
So I think it's we should say that he was they were kind of just riffing, and he was more just they're talking about like where the Knicks go from here. It was informed speculation, because I think when he's saying anything, he wasn't reporting anything or saying he had even heard anything. He was just saying that now that with the Tatum injury, he's saying it doesn't really make sense for Horford to re-sign in Boston. But he's saying Horford and Cat from the Dominican Republic, great friends, and he would be kind of the perfect veteran ring chaser for that team. So he's just connecting some dots, saying it would make some sense, go right down the road, play with his good buddy Cat, still right up the same area, and would be a really maybe good chance for him to get another ring. So that's what he was saying. He wasn't he was kind of just speculating, but again, I think with more than just like a random person kind of making a hot take. I think he's saying like, hey, this would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, see, I don't know. It's scary maybe because it does make sense because that the distance is the thing where it's just kind of like, yeah, you wouldn't really have to. But no, I don't think. Fuck that. It's scary. I don't really. That would be to me. That would feel also like somewhat of a betrayal of sorts to go to the Knicks right after.
Certainly of sorts.
Look at it would. But
I wouldn't quite go as far as to say it's like Ray Allen to Miami, but it would be in the conversation of that to go to the team that just beat us.
It's not necessarily
the Tatum injury thing. If Tatum was healthy and we were like running it back and he did that, then it would be like, what are you doing? The fact if the team basically tells Al like, hey, we're rebuilding for a year, then I guess it depends on
what the rest of the team does. Yeah,
right. It would just suck for it to be the Knicks, but I saw people, saying like this would be as bad as when he left for Philly. Like it's a completely different situation, I would say. This would piss me off way more. The Philly one, again, Kyrie just left. It looked like we were going to rebuild, and the Philly offered him an outrageous max contract, which is still
they just wanted to pay him anything so that he wouldn't be covering Embiid.
And it looked like Al was going to a team that at the time was the favorite in the East. Like it looked like the best move for him to win, the most money. He didn't have a ring. He still like. It all made perfect sense for him to do it now that he has the ring, and I feel like has become like even so much more ingrained as like a Boston guy. I feel like it would almost hurt his like legacy. Like I think he has to kind of know the optics of it and know his place now in like Celtics lore. Where I mean, I think he's in the combo for like number in the rafters type shit.
Yeah,
I don't think that's probably in the cards if he goes and plays in New York, but
no, definitely not.
On how the East shakes out of that team, like he could go there and could definitely contribute a lot to that team. Like he would be an awesome fit, and clearly they would be contending for a title. So it'd be hard to blame him in one hand, but at the other time, like I totally would be pissed off and feel betrayed.
Yeah. All right, so that's a little informed speculation. This too, this is I think just like outright speculation. But saw a lot of rumors about Celtics possibly. This wasn't even. Someone reported this.
It was
right?
Windhorst.
The Celtics are looking into possibly going after Giannis.
Yeah,
he's available.
So to me,
this is the only way that can happen is by moving Jalen, right?
So no, it's not the only way because if there's another way the Celtics could do it, where they get out of the second apron and then they can aggregate salaries. So let's say, for example, they dump like Holiday. Or basically anyone but Brown. They dump Holiday then they're down under the second apron. Then they could aggregate, so they could do like Derek plus Porzingis or whatever. So they could, it's basically either has to be Jalen if they just do it without any other move, or they could kind of back channel it to trade almost everyone else and end up with just Tatum, Jalen, and Giannis.
Would that then put them back into the second apron?
Well, it depends, but I mean, at that point, it wouldn't matter, kind of.
Because then it would be like you're just loading up again. We're just doing the same thing.
Yeah. So to me, this is the way it came out from Windhorst makes it sound to me like he's getting info from Giannis's side, which makes me think that maybe the Celtics are one of the teams that Giannis and his agent might like. They've already kind of started that like talk of if Giannis leaves, he wants to be in the East because he knows that's like the path. So I think he's looking around at like who in the East is good and around my timeline, and a healthy Jason Tatum coming back like would make sense. So I think that's where this is coming from. That if you kind of just go down the list and be like, Giannis is 30 in his prime. If he's leaving Milwaukee, it's going to be somewhere to win. Like how many teams can realistically offer him that? And I don't think the list doesn't go too far before you get to Boston. Yeah. So I think again, kind of informed speculation, but I don't think this is any like the Celtics are going after Giannis. I think it's more if Giannis picks us, like great, let's talk.
Yeah. Well, my thing is like from a basketball standpoint, obviously like Tatum and Giannis, like however it happens is those two would be just like that would be just such a ridiculous 2-man game. Where I balk is just like the cost of it, like. After the whole Giannis is a child thing to then trade Jalen for Giannis, I feel like that would be some diabolical shit. Yeah, that would be tough. I think even just getting rid of Derek White Derek White and Porzingis for Giannis is obviously a deal you would have to probably do. I don't know why they would do it when you mentioned that. I was kind of thinking, I don't really know if that's.
I mean, there'd be another team and a lot of
the weeds on that. Yeah. We don't need to get in the weeds on that, but it's more like that I guess would be more tolerable. I mean, the Jays and Giannis would just be fucking crazy.
It almost feels like, as much as we just talked about how like the era of super big threes and super teams is over, it's like, how do you, if you can do that, how do you not?
I mean, that would just be so insane.
And again, you're talking about how that would be like getting rid of all these guys. Well, we're basically already talking like we're going to get rid of probably two of them, like Drew and Porzingis. We've kind of already like written out the door. So at that point, it's just like, and then we're flipping White for Giannis. And I think at that point too, like then we'll really get some ring chasers if we got those three guys, because then there'll be minutes too. So it's like, I think it'd be a lot easier to build the team around that crew in this East too. It's like you could make a good strong case. Obviously, this could be a year from now.
Win like 75 games.
Well, I was just gonna say you'd probably think we'll have the two best players in the East, maybe clearly, depending on who's in the East by the time Tatum's healthy again and whatever. But like, it's a pretty crazy team.
So obviously, not to basketball. Basketball.
And another thing that I think people might not realize too is that Giannis is younger than Derek White. So if you're thinking of it from like timeline wise, White's like half a year older than Giannis is. So
not much. But I do get your point.
But it's still, I think people on the surface, like it feels like White's come on.
I feel like someone like Derek White has way more time left.
Right, exactly. But
so if you want, it's like younger, but like, what does that really mean? If
and it's close enough. I mean, again, it's not like some 35-year-old and Tatum's 25. It's like it'd be Tatum's 28, Giannis is 30, 31, both essentially in their prime for theoretically 3 to 5 years. It's hard to say no to.
I still get a little bit worried about some of Giannis's health stuff. For all that, but obviously it's something that would be a crazy idea. It's kind of crazy to be mentioning it, but again, right now it's kind of speculation. It does sound like Windy's got his some sources and stuff like that, but we'll see where that goes and how all this stuff starts to shake out.
Just to give a soft prediction, not even to say that he's going to come to the Celtics, but I still think, like, to me, it feels like this Giannis thing is one more year away from fully percolating. Like, I think it's bad right now, but it's still fresh enough that the Bucks can be like, we're not ready to just completely give up on the best player in the franchise ever yet. I think they're going to try to ride it out as long as they can. And then maybe by next year, we'll see how the Celtics have reshuffled. Then suddenly you've got a fully healthy Tatum coming back. That could be the time to strike, especially depending on if we kind of unload some guys right now and maybe load up with some more assets. You start thinking, why would the Bucks do it? Maybe next year when we come to the table, it's one of those guys. It's an improved Peyton Pritchard, and it's these 3 draft picks that we got from a different team or whatever. Like, I just think there's a lot that could happen between now and whenever Giannis is traded. But I think it is fair to think that if and when that day does come, we could be a team on his list, and we definitely could have the assets to make it work. So it's crazy, but it's not that crazy.
Whatever moves are going on, the other news in the Celtics world, the front office moves will be done without, for the first time in a long time, without an Ainge involved in some Celtics decision making. Danny Ainge's son, Austin Ainge, they announced today he's leaving the Celtics to go. Was it president of basketball operations? Isn't that so? What's Danny Ainge then?
So Danny is technically the CEO.
And it's so funny how different teams just have
titles,
like, it's just
the titles don't really matter. I think it's essentially
more or less like
they want to run the team together. Yeah. Pretty much.
With his dad.
Yeah, which, I mean, again, can't blame him. I think a lot of people like to make fun of Danny and probably his son too. But I think great, Austin was here for 14 years on his own. He was, Brad gets most of the credit. Zarin gets a lot of the credit. I think Austin was that third guy in that room. Very trusted. Obviously, the three of them worked closely together. So, again, not going to pretend I'm in those backroom meetings knowing what's going on. But, I mean, tip of the cap to Austin and to Danny, to the whole family. And, like, good for them. Who wouldn't want to go run a team with their dad in Utah where the whole family lives, like,
really?
So we've always said, we like Utah. We'd like to see them get better and see them make some noise before Danny's done.
Celtics East. Or Celtics West.
Probably, but yeah. And,
if you keep going east, you'll eventually get there.
Danny can fulfill the prophecy, drafting Brockton's own AJ DeBanza next year. He'll play 4 or 7 years on the Jazz, and then he'll come to the Celtics to win a few rings at the end of Tatum's career. It's all, it's going to be the next, like McHale trading us KG. Next, it'll be maybe the Ainge boys in tandem trading us DeBanza or whoever.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, that could be something interesting.
Sure could.
All right. All right, so that's kind of all the news that I think really is worth mentioning on the Celtics front. Like I said, not even news, just the speculation.
Well, no. But I was gonna say one other thing that wasn't news, but the Porzingis picture. Did you see that?
Smoking a hookah.
Yeah, just
not ideal.
I'm definitely not that guy who cares.
So
but
was he smoking the hookah?
Not in the picture.
It didn't look like it was in his hand.
Okay.
But no, you're right. I mean, it's not a great look when you couldn't fucking breathe. Yeah.
And I'm usually the last guy to care about anything like that, but just given the nature of like what just happened,
Well,
not the best look.
It's kind of like one of those things where it's just like, look, man, I'm working my ass off here trying to give you some type of defense here. Like, you got to help me out with something.
Fine, and again, it's like making too much of it, but again, it's just the optics where it's like, we literally just lost this devastating fucking series because you literally couldn't breathe. And now a week later, you're at this fucking chilling outside with a giant hookah. It's like, come on. Like I said, not probably doesn't mean shit, but it's still just kind of annoying.
He needs to put out like some Instagram video of him just like doing like suicides or something.
Yeah. Or like taking a hit of hookah and like throwing up. See, I cannot breathe at all. My lungs are kicked. I told you guys.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that wasn't great. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm trying to help you out, man, but
right. It's like we're either, or at least help your trade value. It's like, can't you just not post the picture? Yeah. Like, I don't even care if you're doing it. If you're fine, like if you're not sick anymore, whatever. Smoke all the hookah you want. It's like, do you have to just blast it on social media?
It's crazy. All right. So that's everything you said before that you had a live unboxing you want to do.
Yeah,
Chuddy's Corner first. I think an unboxing ceremony.
I got a random gift from an anonymous Chuddyhead, and he told me to open it on the air.
Jesus Christ.
I'm excited, a little nervous, mostly excited.
Now, is this Chuddyhead Jason Tatum, and you're going to open a pair of Tatum threes? I don't know.
That would be awesome.
We haven't got to that level yet.
We'll see. All right, can you still hear me? I put the mic down.
Yeah, you can hear. All right.
Rip this thing off. It does look like a shoebox. All right.
If you aren't watching on our YouTube page, you can watch this on YouTube.
Note in here. We'll see. Oh, I think I know this logo.
Go the.
All right, it's a shoebox. The gray shoebox. It's got a beautiful logo on it. Up. Look at that.
Dude, where's... Do I have to check my mail? What the hell?
It's... Folks, if you're not watching, it is exactly as Mr. Dugout has predicted. We have got a fresh, beautiful pair of Tatum threes. Wow. These are might be my favorite.
What does the card say? I know, those are sick.
I don't want to... I was told not to read it on the air, so I'm going to respect that, obviously, as this is an awesome hit, but I don't want to stop. Maybe we could discuss off air. Sorry, Chuddy.
I get a few questions.
Wow. Awesome. So
those are sick.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just right here. This is what it's all about. This is why we love the Chuddyheads. We're all feeling down about Jason Tatum, but you know what? This is making me feel pretty damn good. I'm going to wear these. I'm going to hang these up. I don't know what I'm going to do, but beautiful pair of shoes.
I know. I feel like those are so sick. Like to wear. Like I don't even know what I
support Jason Tatum. I'm going to have to go join like a men's league or something. It's like too sweet.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Awesome. So, thank you, Chuddy. This is why the Chuddyheads are the best. We love the Chuddyheads.
We love our Chuddyheads.
Absolutely love the Chuddyheads. Thank you, Chuddy. Thank you, Chuddy Nation. Wow.
Holy Chud Nation.
Wow. Awesome. All right. Well, I am officially fired up. Great omen. Couldn't be feeling better about the Celtics right now. Let's go.
Yeah, well, that'll be good. You got to join a men's league though. You got to do something. I feel like you can't wear those unless you're playing hoops. Got to get the hoops right. On. Or like if you got to, or you have to get like a wicked sick outfit that matches it like perfectly.
Exactly. Some like velour jumpsuit.
Yeah. All right. Well, make sure you subscribe to the show on YouTube or anywhere else you get your podcast, and anywhere else you get your podcast. Go right down the line. Everything that you do, hit subscribe. Follow us on social media at Chuddy's Corner. You can follow him. He's at King Chuddy. I'm at Doug_outs. Thank you again for listening. We'll be back for a little bit of a draft preview. Draft's the 25th, so we'll probably do, depending on how this series goes, maybe something midway through the series. If not, afterwards, finals recap, draft preview. We're coming at you all off season. There is no off season with Chuddy's Corner.
No.
We'll see you guys again soon. Take care.
Peace out, Chuddyheads.